Hey Dolphins fans, welcome to Fins Talk Today. I'm your host, Bobby Melendez. If this is your first time joining us, that's okay. It's just the second episode. Here at Fins Talk Today, we discuss the latest rumors and reports regarding the Miami Dolphins and news and reports that could impact the Miami Dolphins. We're going to start off with just that. News that impacts the Miami Dolphins is the breaking news yesterday where the New York Jets have traded quarterback, former first-round pick Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers. That all guarantees now that the first three picks will be quarterbacks. One, Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville, more than likely Zach Wilson to the Jets at 2, and then 3, surprisingly, Mac Jones to the San Francisco 49ers. That means the draft starts at 4 with the Atlanta Falcons. They can either go quarterback with drafting the heir apparent to Matt Ryan, or can go best player available with Kyle Pitts to tight end out of Florida. Now, if they go quarterback, or they could trade down, there are rumors and reports that Atlanta is discussing trading down out of their pick with teams that may trade up. That could be the Denver Broncos at 9, maybe 15, New England Patriots. But let's say they stick there and they go quarterback. Then you got number 5 with the Cincinnati Bengals. The report is that they are looking at tackles. Joe Burrow is supposedly has expressed his desire for them to draft his former LSU wide receiver, Jamar Chase. But let's say they do draft Jamar Chase, that leaves Kyle Pitts to the Dolphins. That's best case scenario. Let's say they draft an offensive tackle, Cincinnati, either Penei Sewell out of Oregon or Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. That leaves Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts to the Dolphins. So the Jets trade impacts Miami two different ways. Eliminates the scenario where Carolina would like to trade up, possibly with Miami moving down to 8 for a quarterback. If a quarterback slips to 6, they have their franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold. Now guarantees the top 3 picks, possibly 4, are going to be quarterbacks. So Miami will have either Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts available at 6. So that trade is looking better and better from 3 to 12, 12 to 6 with Miami. Now let's talk about wide receivers. Miami more than likely will end the draft weekend with 13 receivers on their roster. That includes possibly Kyle Pitts, who is more receiver than he is a tight end, and possibly a receiver in the second and third round. Now, Miami has a current 11 receivers currently on the roster. So that would more than likely mean that 1 or 2, obviously, and I'm talking about prime guys. I'm talking about guys, household names for Dolphin fans. Not talking about the normal guys who get cut or practice squad players. I'm talking about prime names here, or more than likely are going to be on the move. Who would those guys be? Let's say Miami does add a Kyle Pitts and maybe a Elijah Moore out of Mississippi. Who are the guys that are more likely going to be gone? Well, the more than likely guy would be Jakeem Grant. He could end up being cut or moved, possibly traded. You have Albert Wilson, who could be moved. And you also have, of course, Allen Hurns. The non-surprising, but would be a surprising, shocking move would be Devontae Parker. Parker could end up being traded beforehand or during the draft. Could be a second-day trade. I wouldn't advocate for that. I think Devontae Parker is helpful and gives the best receiving room for rookie quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. But if Miami was to move him, he does have the most value. He is a Pro Bowl receiver. He's still young, so he might get the best return for Miami. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was moved to create some room and get more value, but also create some room for the receivers coming in. That's something to look at. Another rumor a report that came out from a respected NFL insider, was that Miami would not consider a player who opted out in his final college season. Now, the big name here would be, of course, Jamar Chase, who opted out of his final year last year. That's why Terrence Marshall, who I think people are overlooking, his tag team partner there in LSU, had such a good season last year. Now, I understand that point of view. If Miami is for sure not considering players who've opted out of their final year, I get that for anybody else other than Jamar Chase. Players who opted out and teams that might reject those type players, they need more tape on them. They need another year of film on them to see how they could fit their team, and if those players have traits that or attributes that they need to adjust and get better, teams could see if that's a possibility. So they need that extra film to see how those players fit into the team and see if those players are coachable to make themselves better where they have their weaknesses. Jamar Chase doesn't need that. Jamar Chase, we have the film. We know what type of player he is. The last episode, there was a comment. I was talking about Jalen Waddle and possibly him being the pick for the Dolphins, and somebody said that Jalen Waddle was an alpha receiver. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if we're going to talk about alpha, that is Jamar Chase, and I think that's the case, and I think Miami knows that. So I think that does count for players that are not named Jamar Chase, that Miami are not going to, or kind of going to go with players that they have extra year of tape on them. But if you have a Jamar Chase available at number 6, let's say Kyle Pitts is off the board, you have Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. Jamar Chase has to be the pick, okay? You need to do the best for Tua Tagovailoa. If you want him to succeed, you draft the best player on the board, and at that point, it's Jamar Chase. So, yeah, every other player but besides Jamar Chase, I get it. But if Jamar Chase is on the board, Kyle Pitts is off the board, I don't care if he's opted out, Miami should, and I believe will, draft him. So let's go off to the next scenario, or the next report here. It was just last week. DolphinsTalk.com ran an article that two respected NFL insiders, Albert Breer and Daniel Jeremiah, said to keep an eye on the Dolphins for Deshaun Watson. This is a rumor that just doesn't seem to die. So I'm going to give my opinion on this, and then we're going to move on from it. It's a rumor that I think should die. And just because the original opinion on it was that there was no wrong opinion. If you were for sticking with Tua Tagovailoa, that's great. He's a young quarterback. You just drafted him last season at the fifth overall pick. He has a lot of potential. He showed flashes in his rookie season. You want to build around him. You see what you got this draft capital now. You got this cap space. Build around him. See what you got. That's fine. We all feel that he could be an elite quarterback. We know that Deshaun Watson out of Houston is a franchise quarterback, is an elite quarterback. He's an amazing quarterback with amazing talent. He's an amazing quarterback with average talent. We know what he can do, and he's only 26 years old. It's not like you're drafting some 36-year-old in the prime of his career. You're drafting someone who's just at that point of his career who's still reaching his potential. But this is where the line is drawn here at this point in time. 20 cases and counting on Deshaun Watson. I always have that little saying, if you smell like a duck and you quack like a duck and you look like a duck, you're a duck. Right now, Deshaun Watson is a duck. I know it's innocent till proven guilty, and I get that, and I'm for it, okay? But just today, you had the videos, or if this is airing tomorrow or yesterday, but the video, the press conference with two women crying there, discussing what happened. I know people say, well, that was last year or 2 years ago. Look, I'm not going to get onto that. I don't know what it's like to deal with that and how to come forward with that. But unless those are paid actresses, those were real emotions there. That needs to be investigated. Okay? If it was one thing, two thing, whatever. And second of all, if Miami even made that trade, that's a distraction in the locker room you don't need. He more than likely won't be available. He's most likely, until proven innocent, will be on the commissioner's exempt list. Or, if it's proven true, he's gone. So it's something I think the reports need to be dropped. I think the Dolphins should come out right now and say, no, they are committed to Tua Tagovailoa. They won't be pursuing any sort of trade. And guys, guess what? Miami sticks with Tua Tagovailoa. This is a win-win situation. Either he exceeds or meets our expectations or exceeds others' expectations, becomes the franchise guy, becomes a Pro Bowl, hopefully a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Miami is golden, okay? Or, with this trade that went down with Miami, where they traded from 3 to 12 back to 6 to gain an extra first-round pick, if Tua is not the guy, if after giving him these weapons and building around him and doing right by him and putting the right offensive schemes, and he still is not that guy, you still have to put in the backup quarterback to finish games like this is some sort of baseball game, to be your closer. If Jacoby Brissett becomes the next Ryan Fitzpatrick and you need to move on, Miami has the ammunition to do it. They have that extra first round pick now in order to trade up in next year's draft or the year before after that, Or they use those picks to trade for another veteran quarterback, not Deshaun Watson, not until his name is clear. So I think Miami is in the best spot possible. I think everything is lining up for the Dolphins. At number 6, I think they're going to end up with either Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase. Hey, what's the worst case scenario? It's not the worst case scenario. It's Devontae Smith. Tua is going to get the help he needs. Okay, so everything's lining up the place here. If you're a Dolphins fan, guys, it's looking like it's only going up from here. We got pretty high up last season. We didn't make the playoffs, but we were getting there. And I think it's going to be higher up next year. I think Miami has that expectation. That's why they traded their first round pick. If you enjoyed the show, like and subscribe. Okay, tune back in. You can follow me on Twitter at Bobby Finstalk, and you can follow DolphinsTalk.com at DolphinsTalk on Twitter. And check out DolphinsTalk.com. Check out the latest articles and reports. Check out all the latest mock drafts. My second mock draft should be coming out pretty soon.